Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. David Hooper, and this is another episode of the Unstoppable Introvert Project. And today we're going deep. We are looking at your life purpose and really feeling like you have a purpose. You know why you've been put on this planet. You are having a positive impact on people around you, people who aren't around you. And you are really bringing so much value and impact to a lot of people's lives. And knowing your purpose has many, many benefits. But before we get into this is a topic it can be painful and it can be worrying and stressful and anxious. And it's a topic that when you don't know your purpose, you can feel quite lost and quite lonely and worried. And if you're in that place, just before we get into this, just know that by the end of this podcast, you are going to know the exact process to follow to find your purpose and to find the path to fulfillment, because I know what it's like to feel lost and to feel purposeful-less. But how can we figure it out? I think, the road to happiness and a life of meaning really comes from combining a few things. It's combining what you've achieved, but also figuring out how you feel fulfilled. And if you're able to balance those two things, master the ability to balance those two things, you will be able to succeed in finding your purpose. I've got 13 steps for you today. And I must say, as a disclaimer, these are Tony Robbins' 13 steps to discovering your life purpose, because I have read these multiple times. I have used these multiple times and applied them to my own life. And they've helped me in a lot of ways. So I wanted to share them with you. So I'm going to be talking through these 13 steps to discovering your life purpose. And the first part, as you can imagine, is understanding where are you now? And that's questions you can ask yourself. What is your purpose? What is my purpose in life? How can I be happy? How can I be fulfilled? And a lot of the time, all of those questions have the same answer because they relate to each other. You can never truly be happy until you find a purpose that makes you feel alive and it makes you get excited and pumped on a morning, and you can't sleep because you're so eager to go and attack the day. So the first step is to really understand where you are in your life right now. And there's different seasons for our lives, and that is okay. Depending where you're at, it doesn't matter what age you are, but it might be that you are transitioning into a new career, or that your job has run its course and you're thinking about doing something different. Maybe you've been in a corporate job for the last 35 years, and you are now suddenly realizing a life of abundance might be if you start your own business. There isn't a right answer. We go through these different seasons, and whatever season you're at, hopefully some of these questions will help you. So figuring out where you're in your life at the moment, ask yourself, what's important to you right now? What are your current values and beliefs? Which of those beliefs are limiting you? Which are the ones that are empowering you? What's something that means a lot to you? And when you get a sense of where you're at on that journey of self-discovery, then it will be a little bit more clear and obvious to you when it comes to figuring out your purpose. Because some of these questions may spark an idea. It might be like you're unpicking a thread, and that thread starts to unravel a little bit. And if you keep tugging on that thread, eventually the whole thing's going to be there in front of you, and it might give you the answer. So start just to unpick the thread of your lives by asking yourselves some of these questions. The second step is focusing on purpose-driven goals rather than short-term goals. Now, Tony Robbins has an amazing saying, where focus goes, energy flows. So if you only are focused on achieving your short-term goals, you will only get short-term results. But when it comes to fulfillment, you won't get that feeling, and you just won't learn how to feel or find your purpose. So your goal must always be aligned to that purpose, because if it isn't going to be meaningful. It isn't going to have deep attachment to your why. And if you haven't come across that term yet, your why is the reason you get out of bed on a morning. What is the reason that you are doing what you're doing? And it can't be surface level. So I want to make a lot of money. That, believe it or not, when it's raining, when you need to get up early, when it's dark, you'll be like, oh, well, actually, I'm quite happy with my life. I'm going to go back to bed. If you can attach it to greater meaning, it has to get done. It isn't something that could get done. It's something that has to get done. Now, my why is that when Laura and I first met, I promised that I was going to give her an incredible life filled with abundance and joy and happiness. So every day when I don't want to get out of bed early, or I don't want to grind, or I don't want to hustle, or I don't want to work hard, I always go back to my why, because it isn't just letting myself down, it's letting my wife down as well. Now, Laura, she isn't bothered at all. It's not her why, it's my why. And that is what helps me to keep going. So just have a think about your goals and your purpose and your why. And if all of those three things are aligned, and if your why is something surface level, like money or buy a Lamborghini or buy a house or whatever, fancy things, they're just surface level. They don't really have a deep meaning, unless, of course, you have a deep meaning for them that I'm not aware of. And if you can have a think about how you could attach it to yourself, give yourself an incredible life, or your partner or your family or your kids or whatever, your motivation is going to be really intrinsically driven, and you're going to feel so pumped, and you're going to go get after that goal. I am sure of it. So when you're setting those goals, always set a goal with why and not how. Why do you want to achieve it? Then how does this relate back to your ultimate life purpose? And you can use a journal for this type of thing. Ask yourself these questions and try and get to that point where your purpose is at the top of your mind at all times. The third step is cultivating an abundance mindset. When we stop growing and learning and developing, we start to feel pain and fear and anxiety, because one of our basic needs as a human is to feel like we are progressing and developing and growing. That is a basic human need. So when it comes to developing this abundance mindset, we always need to be pushing ourselves, leaving the comfort zone, taking risks, taking a chance. And that will lead you to feeling incredible and filled with this purpose. So if you think about when we don't do those things, the fear and the anxiety and the pain shows up as what everyone else has and what we don't, what they're doing and what we aren't doing. And questions, and that can lead us to really start to chase those things that I mentioned in step 2. And those things like the material goods, the power, the cars, the jewelry, the fancy watches, all lead to nice things, but no real purpose in your life. So without that empowering purpose, all of those things I just mentioned will actually make you feel empty. You know, it's ironic. It's a bit of irony there. But what is the solution when it comes to dealing with that anxiety, dealing with that overwhelm, dealing with that mindset? It is developing an abundance mindset. And this is where you start to see the good around you, the good in people, the beauty around you, whether it's in nature or in people or in what you're doing in your daily actions. And when you focus on what you do have, fear starts to disappear and abundance starts to appear. Because a lot of the times, if you are struggling to find your purpose in this world, you focus on what you don't have. So you look at others and you feel bad about your own life. But instead, if you looked inward and thought about all the amazing things you have, whether it is simple as a roof over your head and a safe neighborhood to live in, or access to food and water, to having an amazing partner or wife or child, or to have a stable job, even if it's not the one that you are delighted with, you can start to see beauty in all of those things. So the goodness is actually all around you. And the more you focus on that stuff, the less anxious you'll be, the less stressed, and the less worried as well. You will stop living in fear and feel more joy and gratitude, and that can be really life-changing. And with this new perspective, you won't question how to find your purpose because you'll be focusing on gratitude and joy and fulfillment. And when you start to acknowledge and be present and focus on those things, it's going to make a huge difference. Step 4 is give to something bigger than just yourself. We are not meant to live individually. And as introverts, quite often we do. And I will hold my hands up right now. And I am terrible at this. And I live fairly isolated. You know, my wife and I are kind of in our own silo a lot of the time, which isn't lovely. It's amazing. It's kind of what we love to do. But humans were created to live in a community and to contribute. And giving and contributing are two of our deepest human needs as well. So I've mentioned about progressing, but giving and contributing are another two that as humans, they're basic needs and wants. Because we thrive off that, of living and of working with other people and having an impact, a positive impact on other people. So if you're striving to unlock your extraordinary life that others simply dream of, we can't ignore that real growth only occurs when we look beyond ourselves and the impact we're having on others. So remember, to grow, we must be giving to something bigger than ourselves, our wants and needs and desires. So, a couple of examples of things you could do would be, volunteering at a soup kitchen, or doing a cleanup round around your neighborhood, or donating blood, or spending time with the elderly, or spending time at a dog and cat shelter. These are things that will make you feel so incredible. It will make the people or the animals you're with feel so incredible, and you are going to feel so fulfilled after it as well. So keep that in mind and try and give to that bigger purpose. Number 5 is throw out your blueprint. And this is a really good one because guess what? Nobody has the right answers when it comes to you and your life. There is no one blueprint. when it comes to how you should be living your life. There is no one blueprint when it comes to a path to follow. Everybody must make their own path because everybody's experiences are different. No one on this world has experienced what you've experienced. And throw it out. Throw your blueprint out, because sometimes that can make us feel bad. You might think, oh, I should be living this life or this life, when actually you don't know. Around every corner is a new experience that might dictate where you end up going in your life. So try to cut yourself a little bit of slack. Nobody knows what the next 5 to 10 years are going to happen, basically. So think about your blueprint and throw it out. Burn it, rip it up, put it in the bin. It's a set of beliefs about how life works. You might have been told the same that I was. By the time you're 25 or 30, you should have your job and career sorted. You should have a houseboat, a nice car. You should be married with 2 kids, a boy and a girl. You should be living in a nice neighborhood. You should be investing and saving and all of these different things. And the truth is, until you're about 50, you're still learning all of these things. And even after 50, you can start a new career, you can get married again, you could buy a different house or whatever. Nobody has the right answer for you. It's all about your own personal situation. So throw that blueprint out. Yes, you can look at other people and add parts of their journey to yours, but nobody's journey is the same, and nobody has the same circumstances that you have found yourself in. So throw that blueprint out. Know that everybody is guessing and nobody has the answers. And that might help when it comes to figuring out your own journey. And that goes for your friends and your families or parents or siblings or other people in society. You don't have to listen to anyone when it comes to finding your purpose. I've had things pushed on me at times where it's really had a long-lasting effect. So there may not have been, but I felt there was pressure to work in higher education and to do a PhD when it probably wasn't something that I should have done. After my master's degree, I should have called it quits. And yes, it's great to have a PhD, but I haven't got any interest in research. I don't care about academia. I have mixed thoughts about higher education as well. So, but that is kind of where my parents wanted me to end up working. And it wasn't where I wanted to end up working. But I felt a pressure to kind of go down that route. And even now, my parents quite often say about me working and researching in higher education and why I should be doing it more and things like that, even though it doesn't interest me at all. But getting back to this, if you allow those external forces to affect your decision making when it comes to finding your purpose, it will lead you to feeling the things that we said at the start: lonely, anxious, nervous, worried, stressed, unfulfilled. And I would hate that to be the case for you. But an extraordinary life is on your terms when you decide how you want to live it. So have that reflection time, start to throw out that blueprint and try and figure out what it is you're going to do with your life. Tony Robbins has an interesting story where Tony's mom wanted him to be a truck driver. He decided to follow his passion of coaching and public speaking instead. And he decided to find his purpose, and it led him to an extraordinary life. And that happens when you dare to throw out your blueprint and to choose what you want. Number 6 is think about what brings you joy. Now that you've shaken off that expectation of other people, it's time to make that new blueprint. Look back at your life and identify what you felt most joy doing. Was it when you were connecting with your partner, or making a presentation at work that went down really well? Or was it making art and helping others through your creative side? When you discover what brings you joy, you usually discover where your passions lie. Because deep down, your skills are connected to that sense of joy. So examine those skills and try to highlight what those skills are, and then you can start to attach those skills to potential avenues to explore. And it might be that you look wider. Do your friends say, "Oh, you know what, you're such a great listener"? Or do your colleagues say, "Wow, you can really draw really well," when you're doodling in a meeting? Try and listen out for the signs when it comes to your great skills and what you're doing. Because, like I say, when you look closely at those activities or the skills that come naturally to you and bring you joy, you'll likely find passions that you can turn into a profitable career. And that is what it's all about. Well, firstly, it's finding your purpose and feeling amazing. But if it happens to lead you to a profitable career and you not wasting your time in a 4x4 office, that's what it's all about. Number 7 is finding your gift. Who are you in your core? What a great question that is. Who are you in your core? And what are your real gifts that you can use to feel fulfilled? We all have different gifts of labor that we can give, but there's plenty of our primary drive that we tend to return to, and it makes us feel fulfilled. Ask yourself what those are for you. And Tony Robbins outlines 3 core patterns that you can look out for that can help you narrow down this process. So the first is an artist, the second is an entrepreneur, and the third is a manager. And knowing which one of these you are will help you answer, what is my purpose? Firstly, an artist. Now, this doesn't have to be a sketchbook. This is more being creative and developing things like maybe computer code or connections with people and networking or interior designing, that type of thing. Managers or leaders are the people who have a gift of leading people and processing people, or leading people and managing people and looking after people and guiding people. And then entrepreneurs are people who are the big thinkers, the risk takers. And by doing those things, it fulfills their need for growth and risk and pairs it with economic success. So try and think outside of the box. Which one of those 3 could you be? Are you an artist? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a manager? And when you start to do that, you can apply your gift in ways you might not think of initially. And that will help you feel fulfilled, and you'll feel growth and happiness as well. Number 8 is write your story. Now, writing helps us organize your thoughts, whether it's journaling or just writing on a laptop. Sometimes it's nice to do a pen to paper journal. It's just a different connection, I find, than writing on a laptop. You might be different. It might be doing a voice note or a vlog. You don't have to share these with anyone. It's just about recording your thoughts. So when you do start to journal or get your thoughts down, you start to discover these new perspectives that you may never have realized. And this helps you with reaching goals. It improves your memory, decreases stress, and all of those things help us figure out our purpose. Putting your life in writing really helps reveal hidden meanings. You could start with asking yourself about your strengths. Think about the tough times. What strengths do you have that helped you with those? I think about back to my time when I was morbidly obese, clinically depressed, and redundant, and think about how was I able to get through those different times. And it was by thinking about those different strengths I have, applying myself, working hard, staying focused, effective goal setting, working on my mindset. And I'm then able to apply those things to a new problem or challenge in my life. How have I helped others? It's another great question. How have other people helped you? Start to write all of this down, and you are going to get a real understanding for your purpose. Number 9 is visualize your future. So everything in your external world started in your internal world. We just had an interruption there. The puppy is now with us because I think the postman's about to knock on the door, but we will carry on and we'll see if we get interrupted. Hopefully not, but Luna is my co-star today. You may hear her squeaking in the background at any moment. But yeah, so your external world started in your internal world. And what that means is you're able to turn your thoughts and feelings and visualizations into something real. So when you're asking yourself, what is my purpose in life? You can answer it by visualizing what an ideal life would look like for you in your own situation. And then you can ask yourself, what steps would I need to take to move the needle forward, to progress, to take things further? Creating a life vision statement, if that's what you want to call it, involves identifying what life would look like if everyone lived to their fullest potential. And this will help develop a roadmap to guide you in the proper direction. Then you can use that visualization, easy for me to say, to bring this vision to life in your mind. Picture it in as much detail as you can. Hear the sounds and smell the smells of the extraordinary life that you can create for yourself. Number 10 is discover your true needs. When asking yourself, what is your purpose in life? Some people don't know where to start. That's true. And if you fall into this category, have a think about the 6 human needs. I've mentioned a few of these already. There's certainty, significance, variety, love and connection, growth, and contribution. And those 6 different things affect every decision that you make in your life. And if you have a lack of awareness around your own needs, this can leave you with a false sense of purpose, and it can leave you with a feeling of not being able to progress, and it will probably be holding you back from reaching the top of the career ladder or finding the perfect partner, if you want to call them that. And it can also explain why you might get in amazing shape. You might be shredded with a 6-pack or, muscles or lean or whatever looks amazing to you and still feel empty and unhappy. And that is the truth of it. And that's exactly what a lot of people find themselves in. That inability to really figure out what is it that you need from life? What is it going to bring you to that point of, right, I know that this is my purpose. Number 11, we're getting through these, a couple more to go. Take time for yourself. We've been asking a lot of profound questions today. What is my purpose? That's a profound question. And it takes time, it takes reflection. When you run from one commitment to another, you never have any time to sit quietly and reconnect with yourself. Make sure that you are building in time to close off the noise, to figure out what it is that you actually want. Because when you feel depleted and, searching for your purpose in life does lead you to feel like that, take a breath and center yourself and, ramp up the self-care. Take a spa day, go to the gym and work out. And it might be reading a book or journaling. It's by looking within that you're able to identify what do you value? What are your core values and beliefs that are guiding you in life? And one part of finding your purpose is actually stop looking for it, because you are putting so much pressure on yourself to find your purpose that it will never come. It will never arrive because there's too much pressure and you're looking everywhere. But sometimes you can take a step back, reflect, and your purpose will arrive to you instead. Number 12 is practice self-compassion. And part of finding your purpose is accepting your limitations. Instead of getting frustrated and anxious about your situation, give yourself a break. Know that you have time and that you are eventually, with the right plan, going to arrive at your destination, i.e. finding your purpose. Get to know yourself again, bit by bit, and really give yourself a break. Building that self-awareness will help you find the meaning in which you seek. It means being patient with yourself. Self-compassion isn't easy because there's that internal dialogue that is always there. But feeling lost in life can feel very disorientating, and it'll make you feel awful. And I know exactly how that feels like. So be gentle with yourself. And if you've ever seen someone else ask themselves or be harsh on themselves, and you've been the person who said, just give yourself a break, take your own advice and give yourself a break as well. Because everyone who has ever asked themselves, what is my purpose, began from a place of uncertainty. Their hesitancy was what prompted them to dig deep and find greater meaning. And number 13 is build your community. Finding your purpose in life is also about discovering where you fit in and where your people live. And that's kind of what I've found with this podcast. My people are introverts. They're quite often ambitious and are in this place of uncertainty and want to become unstoppable, but don't know how. And that is where this podcast hopefully has come in. But I found my tribe. I found my people doing this podcast. So try and think about those times where you feel relaxed and at ease and able to be your true self, and your community will quite often present itself to you. Again, thinking about those types of things, follow your passions. Is it five-a-side football? Is it singing? Is it a choir? Is it WI? Is it an art club? Is it somewhere you could join a volunteer group? Take a class to develop a skill maybe. Try and find that tribe, and that is really going to help you as well. Because there's this great saying that says, you are who your friends are. And that is so, so true. And when you find the right community, that is a good thing. I hope this has helped today. I want to really help you find your purpose. I know what it's like when you are struggling and you just feel like you're floating around the ether and you're just bobbing around in the sea and you just don't know which island to cling on to. Those 13 steps, if you work through them, will hopefully bring to light what your true purpose is. But remember, you can message me at any time. If I can help, I will. So please get in touch. You can follow me on Instagram and all of my platforms, to be honest, at Dr. David Hooper. Please like and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or on YouTube. Your support means the absolute world to me. And remember, your introversion isn't the thing that will hold you back. it is the thing that will catapult you towards your greatest version of yourself. Until next time, stay unstoppable.